Hi there, my name is TaffyRue, and welcome to the first of what I hope will be many features by TaffyRue. For my very first episode of these features by TaffyRue, I have got with me Michael Kalizi, and that is really exciting for me. I first knew Michael Kalizi when he came to do Bring It On back in 2021. Unfortunately, contact with the contestants was limited because we were still in the COVID era, so most of it happened online. But fortunately, Michael and his brother Ebenezer Kalizi came back in 2022 and 2023 and took the top spot in the rap category because of their electrifying performances. Later on in 2023, I got to work a bit more with Michael when he took part in the Hold On Open Verse Challenge, and we got to work on the Hold On remix together with A&B. That was a song. So Hold On was actually a song that ended up in the top 5 gospel songs of the year on Classic 263 radio. And I think it was one of the first ever songs with rap to be featured on a gospel chart show. Michael is one of the most humble people I know, very coachable, and he is extremely hardworking. And I know that God is going to use him mightily in his generation. And I'm so excited to have him with me here today. Michael, welcome.
Thank you very much, Taffy.
Yes, I'm so happy that you got to come here and have this little chat with me. And I'm sure a lot of people would want to know a little bit about yourself. So maybe you could start by telling us a little bit about Michael Kalizi.
Oh, sure. So I was born in a family of 5.
Okay.
Well, 3 are biological and 2 are foster. So yeah, it's a big family, but I guess which has helped me to be as patient as I am.
Yeah, definitely. I can imagine having 5 siblings.
Right. Yeah. So I studied computer science and I'm graduating this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I'm also doing music, which is my favorite thing, my favorite hobby. It's what I love the most. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, and I just have 2 singles out, and I took part in Hold On.
Yes.
And I featured on other songs like A&B's I Wanna Be Like Christ. And yeah, there's more coming.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So maybe let me take you back. You said music is one of your favorite things.
Yes.
How did you get into music?
My family is musical. My dad used to coach a choir.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my mom used to be part of that choir as well. So I just grew up liking music. I grew up seeing my dad coach, choir and, all those things. I grew up watching that. I have vivid memories of how he was doing it, and I used to enjoy it. And I started singing in church, and I also got introduced to the keyboard when my dad became a pastor, and started the music thing. But I wasn't really into it that much. It was more like duty then. I had to do it
as a PK.
As a PK, I had to do it. So then I guess I developed more interest when I was 18.
Okay.
I remember I used to sneak out of the hostel to go to the classrooms, to the music room, to actually play the piano and write songs, which is, what I enjoyed doing. So
how did you get into rap then? Because I know Bring It On 2021, you came singing and playing keys.
Yes.
And then when you came back with your brother, you were rapping.
Yeah.
So how did you then make that transition, or how did you then include rapping into your music world?
Well, there was this particular channel that I used to watch back then before, I think before DSTV was a thing. Uh, it used to play Christian rap music. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. I've never had such Christian music before. I think with the Lecrae's, Triple E's and all. So that got me very interested to say, "Ah, I can actually do this, you know." And that's when I started also writing my own little lyrics and trying to rap. Yeah.
Okay.
And I actually found that that's fun and it's also music. So I love to glorify God through any type of music I can do. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Awesome. Okay. So maybe while we're still on the subject of probably Bring It On, how
Yeah.
did you find out about Bring It On?
It's a friend of mine, Ruvimbo. You should
Okay.
know Ruvimbo. Yeah. She just posted something and I responded and she encouraged me to like, yeah, you can come around. It's a fun community and it's all, yeah, you should come. And I decided to go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And how did you find your experience at Bring It On?
It was really good. I think the fact that it's not just a competition, I think there's more to it. There's an aspect of bringing glory to God. There's an aspect of community. There's an aspect of growing, learning about music, especially here in Zimbabwe, learning about how we can use our art, how we can grow it, how we can nurture it in the context that we are in. So for me, it was just more than a talent show. It was really great,
That's
great
awesome.
experience.
So what is one thing that you learned from Bring It On? One key takeaway?
I should say the biggest thing is that because I'm a Christian doesn't mean that I have to. I know this is not what people intend, but doesn't mean that my music has to have some low standard. Like I can have beautiful music that glorifies God, and I should work towards it. You know, most Christian musicians just don't put enough effort into the music because they per se don't want to take the glory, but it's not really taking the glory. But if you put work on your music, you put 100% there, and you also put 100% in your relationship with God, you're good. You're
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Definitely. What do you think? What do you think, or how do you think rather? How do you think music? How do you think entertainment can be beneficial to your generation? Because I think one thing that I've seen is that the church isn't really supportive of all the gifts and talents that probably young people have, and
Yes.
they probably feel like they aren't able to express themselves in the church. What do you think, or how do you think entertainment can actually impact your generation? If you were to tell maybe a pastor or people who are trying to do youth programs, how do you think, or how would you convince them to say that actually this thing is good for us as young people?
Yeah. That's a good question. Growing up, I got to, I got so interested in music, but I also got interested in the, should I say, the Christian part of the music. But I noticed that also most of my peers, or yeah, my schoolmates, they were more interested in the circular. And noticing that, for me, it was like, okay, if people like this, if young people like this, then what is the best way to reach young people? You can't come to young people singing the usual slow Christian music that's seemingly more holier than any other music.
For lack of a better word.
For
Yeah.
lack of a better word.
Yeah.
For lack of a better word. But yeah, I think to reach young people, you should get to their level, learn about what they like. Young people like this trending stuff.
Yeah.
So when you get to their level, you also bring the gospel to their level. I think they can understand you better and can even comply better rather than the normal, let's do this. This is how it's supposed to be done. This is what we've done for years. Why do you want to change it? You know,
Yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my take.
Why do you think they are afraid? Or why do you think maybe people who are in leadership in churches and all of that, why do you think they are afraid of maybe engaging the young people and engaging culture using entertainment and using music?
Music is a powerful tool. Entertainment is a powerful tool and it can do a lot of good, can do a lot of bad as well.
Definitely.
So I think they are afraid that they would seem like they are conforming to the world by doing what the world is doing. But I, for me, I've come to notice that music is not. It's not the world which started music. There is, there was music before the world.
True. Yeah.
You know, and can someone please just come down and tell me that this is the music that they used to sing before we were created? How do you know?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
how do you know? So, and maybe it seems like a certain type of music started in the world, or it started in circular context. So, if we try to do that, it seems like we're conforming to the world. But rather, I don't think that God has written down specifically that this music is what brings glory to me and this doesn't. But I think music as a whole, if we put good content into it, God is glorified. So I think they are scared that we're conforming to the world.
Yeah.
So they don't want to do that. And yeah, it ends up sometimes they can't reach the young people.
And it ends up alienating like the young people, because obviously when they then go to these churches and they're singing songs that have been sung in a particular way for years and years, they can't relate.
Relate.
What issues are facing your generation in this day and age?
A lot, a lot. Where do I even start?
Yeah, somewhere. I mean, obviously, like for us, well, I'm not that much older than you, but
Yeah, I know.
but when we were still in high school,
Yeah.
obviously we had peer pressure that was huge back then.
Yeah.
And obviously pressures, for example, from our parents to have a certain or particular, to go down a particular route in terms of education and
Yeah.
all of those things. What issues are you still facing the same issues these days, or have they taken a different direction? Do you face different issues altogether? What is affecting your generation in this day and age?
I think it has changed, but more or less the same. In that peer pressure is still there. It continues to be there, and now I think it's higher because of social media, like how long people take on YouTube, how long people take on TikTok, Instagram, and all these places, and they get to know, or they get to be influenced by whatever people are putting on there. And I think young people are affected mostly because they try to be like that. They try to be, it seems cool, it seems nice and all that, and it affects their way of living, affects our way of living. And so, yeah, the pressure is still there. So social media, to peers, to, yeah, name it. Even parents are still there pressuring others with good pressure.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and others with also negative pressure. I've come to notice that. So, yeah, I think that's the biggest challenge in
So
our
how are
generation.
people, or how are the young people dealing with these pressures? How are they dealing with the pressure that is coming from
Yeah.
social media? How are they dealing with the pressures that are coming from their parents or their peers?
Um, I would say some. All right, I'll speak for myself firstly. The way I've come to deal with that is, I guess, being saved was a big, big change in my life. I I'm very good at being picky in what I induce, what I take in terms of even social media. I would show you even my Instagram, feed. You can tell the content is different. I've managed through God's strength to, be very picky in what I scroll through. That's how I've come to manage such kind of pressures. And with my parents, thankfully, my parents are godly. So I've I've also come to accept that they are from a different generation. They think differently, but they try, because they also accepted Christ, they try to bring themselves to my level and help me even as I'm growing up. But other people, young people, deal with it differently. Some people, because of that pressure, they try to, like I said, be what they see on social media. And sometimes it's not even possible in their circumstances. And some end up, you know, doing things that they shouldn't because they want to be what they have been seeing. So it becomes a challenge now. The friends, the pressure from the friends, it becomes too much that they try to live according to means that they're not able to. You know, um, I would like to give examples, but they are a lot. I like to give
Just
examples, but
one,
it's a lot.
just one
Just one.
example. Yeah.
Okay. So one young lady was supposed to go to a wedding, and on that wedding, she is like, okay, I don't have a dress for this wedding, and it's like she wanted to dress like her other peers, right? But you think, okay, you have other dresses. You can put on those other dresses, right? It's not like it has to be new because it's a wedding. You can put on those other nice dresses. But because of the other friends who had new dresses, or, it was very difficult for her, and she got to worry so much. So I think that kind of a pressure also is, yeah, it's hard to deal with for the young people nowadays. They just want to, try to fit in,
Yeah.
try to,
To get
yeah,
acceptance,
get
get
acceptance.
acceptance from their
Yes.
peers and their people who follow them, I guess, on social
Yeah,
media
yeah.
and all of those.
Pictures.
Yeah, the pictures. Everything
I
now
know.
is for Instagram or for Snapchat or for, you know, all those other social media platforms.
Yeah.
It's very understandable. Maybe back to music. How
Yes.
do you think, or what lessons have you learned from music, from your exposure to music, be it from Bring It On or even just from what you have been seeing as you pursue music? What lessons have you learned from that journey that you can apply to other areas of your life that are not necessarily music?
Um, First thing is discipline. When it comes to music, and you have to be disciplined. Practice, putting in the work. I still struggle with that, but
It's a struggle for all of us. Believe
yeah,
me, you.
you have to be disciplined.
Yeah.
When I think of, I hear musicians sing, rap, and I'm like, wow, it's a beautiful voice. And I know what I have to do to also be consistent with the voice,
Yeah.
but it's hard to just every day, the vocal exercises,
Yes.
I know I have to, and it's a
But
struggle.
getting to do it, to actually do it, I know it took
Yeah,
me years to actually start
yeah,
getting into training my voice every day. And
yeah,
even till today, I still struggle. I still skip some days because it's really
yeah,
hard to keep up that discipline. So I can relate. Yeah.
yeah. And that applies to life in general, discipline in every area. Yeah, in studying God's word. Yeah, it applies everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can ask me some questions. So maybe
Yeah.
we can turn things around and you can
Yeah.
ask me some questions that you have for me.
Sure, sure. I hope you're ready.
I hope so too.
So, you do music.
Yes.
We've done that beautiful song, Hold On, and I've been following your music, yeah, ever since you started, and I'm enjoying it. I guess my first question will be, what, um, what made you realize that this is actually what you want to do in life?
That's a very good question.
Yeah.
So, I decided to do music when I was in my last year of high school.
Okay.
And what had happened in my last year of high school is that I started leading prayer meetings in my hostel. So
Okay.
over the years, I had been going to prayer meetings, but it was just a few of us. We would have like 5 people there. If you had 10, that would be a really good number out of 70 people who were in the hostel. So when I got to upper six, it was my turn to actually start leading the prayer meetings. And so I was doing it with a friend of mine, and we decided to introduce a praise and worship section, I guess, to the prayer meetings. And so when we did that, we witnessed the numbers grow from just the 10 people to the entire hostel. At the end of the year, the entire hostel was coming
Yeah.
to these prayer meetings. And I just saw the power of music. And the day that I decided particularly to do music, there were these 2 girls who had been forced to come to this prayer meeting, and they didn't want to, honestly. But when we were doing the praise and worship, something just said to me, open your eyes, and I opened my eyes and I saw these 2 young ladies dancing,
Wow.
laughing, singing along. They had so much joy in their heart. And I realized right there and there that music is powerful. And so that's when I just decided to do music, because I realized how much impact it had on my peers. And so, yeah.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. Yeah. And now that you're into the music, what would you say is your long-term goal? Like where would you have gotten for you to say, wow, I've done my part in music?
That's another very good question. So they say that Zimbabwe is 80% Christians. But if you listen to our content on radio, it does not reflect that number. For me to say that I've gotten to where I want to be in the industry, it's when we have at least 80% Christian content on television, on our radios. And the only way that we can get to that particular point is building an army that is not afraid to do God glorifying content. Building an army of young people who are not afraid in doing content that speaks to what they believe in when they are singing, when they're dancing, when they're doing whatever it is. So for me, that's my long-term goal, building that army, building a generation of artists who will flood the industry with godly content.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. And yeah, bring it on. Yeah.
That is one tool that we are using to do that. Yeah. Hopefully God will open up more doors for us to grow more and more young people and make that impact.
That is really good. Yeah, and maybe one more. You become a mother and you're a wife.
Yes.
How do you manage that, being a wife, being a mother, and being an artist?
Now that's a tough question. The other ones were good, but that's a tough question.
Sorry.
You know what? Honestly, God is my strength in everything. I think I wouldn't be able to give every single thing the attention it deserves if I was doing it in my own strength. And even when I do fail to be a good mom, for example, one or two times or whatever, God really steps in and fills up where I have fallen short.
Yeah.
But with anything, I guess balance is important. But we only get that balance when we seek first the kingdom, and then everything else will fall into place. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. We can learn a lot from that.
We all can learn a lot from that. I'm still learning. But maybe for the last thing that we want to do before we wrap up is there something, a word of encouragement, something that you would want to say to your peers, to anyone who's going to be watching this video?
Sure. I'm a young man who's growing, and I've learned a lot from different circumstances, from different people. But first things first, God is real. I've learned that God is real. And with the music that I'm doing it for Him. And I just want to give an encouragement to anyone who is doing what we are doing, Christian music. We're doing it for God. And once you have that mindset, I think your goal and what you do, it will actually show who you're doing it for. And at times, I know that it's going to be hard. Nothing is easy on this earth. But at the end of the day, we're looking forward to seeing God. We're looking forward to eventually be with Him. And so enjoy and put the work. Yeah, and God gets praised.
Yeah.
I think that's a win. That's a win.
That's a win.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me on this first ever episode of Features by TaffyRue. And
pleasure.
I really, really do hope that I will be privileged to seeing what God has to do with your life, the plans that He has for your life. And we look forward to seeing more, hearing more music. And yeah, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Taffy.